Hey guys, how you doing? My name is Lena. Welcome back to another video. So today I wanted to give you like a little bit of a wrap up, but I'm definitely not going to talk about all the books that I've read in this, like, I don't know, 3 or 4 months, because there are probably like 100 of them and we're not going to do that. I want to talk about the ones that I have something to say about, because some of them were really forgettable. So let's just get started. I'm really going to grab the physical copies because there are so many of them. I'm going to regret this when I'm editing this, so really sorry for future me. But let's just get started. So the first one, The Blighted Stars. This was one of the best science fiction books that I've read in a while. It has like some of my favorite tropes, which is just like being on a stranded planet and weird shit starts happening. It's amazing. It also has like a bit of a changing consciousness type of thing, and like transferring your conscience to another body, which is not a trope that I particularly love, but it has like great plot twists, linked to them. But in general, this one was fantastic. It has a little bit of horror, but it's mostly like science fiction and a little bit of space opera. But man, the Blighted Stars was excellent. I have the sequel already, The Fractured Dark, which I plan to read very, very soon. But yeah, overall it was fantastic. I give it like 4.5 out of 5 stars. It was great. I highly, highly recommend it. You basically follow like 2 main POVs, and one of them is just like the son of the owner of this like huge enterprise that has been like getting planets all over the galaxy, and the other one is just like a rebel who is fighting this company, and they are just like forced to work together in the situation, and it was great. It was great. I highly, highly recommend this one. It was very creepy also. Then the Trials of Ashmount. This was great. I know that it was going to be great. Everyone who has read this has said that it was really good, and it was indeed really good. I found myself just like going page after page after page. It was really, really easy to be drawn into it, but I particularly like the fact that it's very dark, but it's not shy from it. Like, let me tell you that mild spoilers ahead because it's just like really very early on in the book. But there's a fucking baby that is just fucking thrown. I was just like, okay. So is this type of book? It's not like super like grim dark. You don't feel like that oppression constantly, but it's very dark. And it's not afraid of being dark. It's just really cool. I particularly love the kind of magical school that we have, because we have like mainly three POVs, like a rogue wizard, a child who just got into this school, and this school is just like, you know what, if you don't pass this test, you're going to die. And they are just so clear with it. I was just like, yeah, no one's being fooled here. Like, if you pass them, you're good. If you don't, you die. Really cool. Characters just kind of die here and there, but not very gratuitous. So I really, really liked it. And the other POV is a man who is now forced to fight into an arena, which is the one that I like the least. But at the same time, I really empathize. I was very empathic towards the character for some reason. I don't know. But his revenge story is going to be fantastic. I'm picking up book 2 this month, Buzzard's Ball. I think that's how you say it. I don't know. This is just not my thing, but I really, really liked it. I highly recommend it. I gave it like 4.5 out of 5 stars. I really, really liked it. It's super, super enjoyable. I cannot recommend it enough if you like dark fantasy. What can I just say about this one? I obviously gave it 5 out of 5 stars because it's an ML1 book. And of course, it's just so fucking good. I have to say I didn't love it as much as the Sword of Kagan, because that is impossible. But it's just so good. Like, she's so good at this. She's so good at world building. She's so good at characterization. She's so good at storytelling. It's just so fucking embarrassing through all the authors out there. I'm so sorry, but this is the fucking level. Like, holy shit. Holy shit. It's incredible, but it's basically about these two characters, and they live in this city who is kind of like the last remaining safe place that we have in this world, or in this continent, in this world. And the thing is, one of them grew out on the outside and then was forced to get inside because magic out there was killing them, basically. So he's been kind of working not as a slave, but almost like it. They are very looked down upon. Like they're just like constantly being just like, oh, your race, do not come near us, the refugees and such. And then we have a female magician who is the first female magician that we have in this era, basically. And of course everyone also looks very down upon her, but they come together. The story is fantastic. I loved it so much, so fucking much. It's incredible. I cannot recommend this one enough. I will do a video about this one very soon because it's just amazing. Then the pattern of the world, which is actually there. I do have to say one thing about the series, and it's that the covers are fucking beautiful. Like, look at them, all pastel, blue, pink, lilac. They're fucking great. But this series, so I was kind of right, because I was a little bit, oh, and it's fucking blue on the inside. Sorry. I was kind of right about this series, because I was a little bit afraid of the ending, because book 2 was not really my thing, even though book 1 was 5 out of 5 star read for me, in one of my favorite books. But I was very afraid of book 3, and I do have to say that book 3 really made up for book 2, but it's not as good as book 1. So we're in a little bit of a pickle here. This one is mostly like magic and war centered, and I feel like book 1 was really politically heavy, so I was missing those elements. I always thought that this series was going to turn like more political heavy, but it didn't. It really didn't happen. After book 1, it just became more about just like the facing of these two armies, basically, and it's okay. It's okay. I do have to say that I also didn't love the fact that we have more POVs, which I understand, don't get me wrong, I understand what they are there, but I didn't love it. I didn't love it. I'm still going to remain with book 1 being my favorite. This series is still good, so I will definitely recommend it. I give this one 4 out of 5 stars. It was definitely solid and good, but it wasn't as good. It just wasn't as good. Then one book that I really like, The September House. This isn't going to be like my favorite book of all time, but it's one of those books that you remember and you're just like, this was great. This was fucking great. And this is The September House. It's basically about a couple, and they have been living in this house for a little bit. And the thing is, there are ghosts living in this house, and everything just works pretty normally throughout the year. You know, you have just like your killed children, your burned down maid over there. But when September comes, the house just really gets into this weird, like, bloody humor. And one day, one of the members of the couple cannot hold it anymore, so he decides to leave and he disappears. So our old lady has to find him, and it's just so cool. I really liked it. A little bit predictable, but overall so fucking enjoyable. It reminded me of a more humorous type of murder house, the first season on American Horror Story. I just really liked it. I got the audiobook and I'm just so happy. I kind of feel like I want a physical copy though, because it's one of those books that I'm just like, yeah, I want to recommend this one to you. It was great. I don't think it's going to be for everyone, but it was really cool. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. It was super enjoyable. I feel like I gave it 4.5 actually, but it was just great. I highly recommend it if you're looking for like a horror read that is not just like too terrifying. I just really liked it. Another horror book, I was really in the mood in October. I feed her to the beast, and the beast is me. Really convoluted title. Really liked it. It's kind of Black Swan, but mixed in some Greek mythology in the Black Swan part comes from the fact that the main character is a ballerina on the ballet in Paris. It's just super cool, honestly. She stumbles upon a river that connects her with this being that gives her power in exchange of, you know, like sacrifice. It was actually really good. And your main character is definitely kind of a villain here, honestly. I really, really like it. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I cannot recommend this one enough, honestly. If you're looking for the read that's just like more on the dark side than anything, where your protagonist is just like actually a little bit evil and she just wants to be a little bit selfish, you know, definitely check this one out. It was really, really cool, and the cover is amazing. I also really liked the ending though. It was really good. Then Labyrinth Heart, the conclusion to this trilogy, was actually really good. I do have to say that I didn't love it as much as the rest of the series. A little bit in the same sense as this one. I feel like in the third one we have like everything is kind of revolving around the magic, which is nothing bad, but I feel like we lost a little bit of that play with the noble houses, which was still good, don't get me wrong, but we are also more focused on the romance part of things, which is, again, nothing bad, because I was actually pretty invested in this romance, not gonna lie. Though I prefer like the other option. I was definitely on the other side here, but I still really liked it. Super solid conclusion, really enjoyed it. 4 out of 5 stars for me. It feels like the weaker one in the series for me, but overall 100% would recommend the series. It's just so fucking good, man. Like, amazing. If you're looking for a very like heavily political driven fantasy, the series is for you. It also has like a shit ton of magic too. It's just fucking great, honestly. Then A Study in Drowning, which caught my eye because it seemed like a very dark academia, and I was just like so in the mood for this one. But basically it's about a girl who is studying this author and his architecture, and she gets invited to his house basically after he passed away, and to study and make a work about him basically. And she goes with this study rival, you know, you have a little bit of that enemies to lovers kind of thing, which I didn't love, honestly. But the story overall, I really like the atmosphere of this book. I think it's the best part. I think this is Avery's YA debut, if I'm not mistaken. I might be mistaken, but I actually really enjoyed it, I'm not gonna lie. The romance part, not a huge fan, but the ambience and the plot was really good. It's just like a very, like, there's fog outside and you want to read something creepy and something very atmospheric. This one is the book for you. I give this one also 4 out of 5 stars. In a very similar vein from this, I also read the sequel to House of Salt and Sorrows, which is House of Roots and Ruin, which I didn't like as much as the previous one. I don't really know why there's a sequel, to be honest. Very unnecessary. I feel like it's darker but less creepy than book 1. Book 1 had a fantastic atmosphere. Like, oh, you felt the fucking salt and the fog and the water all the time. And this one, again, very focused on the romance here. I didn't mind it, but definitely didn't love it. I much preferred One Dark Window over this one. So if you're curious about the sequel, definitely read it, but it was just fine. Honestly, it's been like 2 months since I read this, and I've almost forgotten. I'm almost forgotten about it. Like, I don't know. It was fine though. I really want to let you know that I've read the sequel, and it was fine, but it wasn't like the best. I've also read Rise of the Ranger, because it's a fucking gigantic series, and for some reason it just keeps growing and growing and growing, and I became curious about it because a lot of my friends that read self-published were really into it, and I'm just like, okay, what am I missing? I actually kind of like it. I actually liked it. But it was not my favorite, but I feel like the story is coming somewhere. I do have to say that I like the ending better than the beginning of the book. Well, the prologue was fucking great. Then the first chunk was also great, and then I feel like there's a slump in the middle that I wasn't a huge fan of, but I really like the characters and the plot overall. I feel like the plot of this story is going to go strong, so I'm definitely continuing it. I give it 4 out of 5 stars. It was really enjoyable, most of it. I've read it physically, and I feel like I might have enjoyed it more on the audiobook, if I'm being true to myself. But overall, I really liked it. I'm surprised by it, honestly, because it feels like a different thing from what I would read. But I actually really liked it. Then I read, I finished the trilogy of Eisenhorn. I do have to say that I like book 3 better than the other ones. And this one is just like my first full-on trilogy in Warhammer. I've read a lot of standalones, and I'm starting the Horus Heresy. But I feel like this one was actually pretty good. Though I wouldn't say that I would recommend this to start the series. I don't know why. It's a very popular recommendation, but I don't feel like it. I don't feel like it. I feel like the beginning is a little bit confusing. We're just stepping into it. But yeah, I'm still going strong on Warhammer. It's just like my new thing. Reading these fucking books, and there are so many of them. But I've been really liking it. Especially the other ones that I have read. Although I started really strong with the horror ones. But yeah, overall, I give this one 4 stars. I definitely feel like the last one is the best out of the 3. And the second one was not my favorite, but the first one and the third one were really good. So I'm just going for that middle ground and giving it 4 stars. Then this one is going to be a sad one. The Legacy of the Brightwash. I didn't really love it. Probably because of my own expectations, and the expectations that some of you had set for me. But I didn't love it. I'm a little bit on the fence about reading the second one, which came out very recently. But I don't know. I just wasn't a huge fan. I do have to say that some things I really like. I really like the more detective aspect of it. But I'm a little bit meh about it. The mystery was cool and all, but I'm starting to realize that I just don't like detective stories now. I don't know what it is. I also don't like in Spanish it's called novela policíaca, basically, but it's basically where the main character is just like a detective or a police officer, something like that. I'm not feeling it lately. I don't know what it is, but this one is going to stay on the sad pile for now. I'll probably try book 2 because I'm a little bit curious, but it was more of a 3.5 for me. Then Black River Orchid? Oh, I don't know how to say this word, but this is a new book by Chuck Wendig, who is very rapidly becoming one of my must-read authors. He writes very long horror books. All of his books are just fucking ginormous, and they have fucking several plot twists, but they're actually quite good. It's not they're not on the fucking amazing level, but they're just solid good. So it's always a win for me, honestly. I've read Wanderers, I've read oh my god, this one, I just cannot recall the name, and I actually really like it. And now this one is my third one, and I think it might be my favorite of them all. It's basically about a man who discovers this apple tree, and people become addicted to the apples, and the apples gives them kind of health and strength, but it turns them kind of evil. It's just super cool. I really liked it. I love this trope of the town slowly turning into one another. It's one of my favorite tropes of all time. Is why I love Salem Slot so much. So yeah, check this one out. I do have to say that it's a little bit too long. The last part is just could be sooner, but overall it's really cool. So definitely check it out. I believe I gave it 4 out of 5 stars, if I'm not mistaken. I of course read the new Percy Jackson book, which gave me a lot of joy. I don't think it was as good the Percy Jackson main series, but it gave me so much joy and nostalgia. Oh my god. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. It's fine. I will read anything with the Percy Jackson name on it. I'm just that simple. I just love Percy Jackson. I'm so excited for the TV show. You cannot even imagine. Then some recent ones. So I read Vampires of El Norte. and I kind of like it. I have to say that I read this one in one sitting. I was just playing with my deck and needed something to listen to, and I grabbed this one because I was feeling like that spooky type of feeling, and it definitely delivered. A little bit too heavy on the romance, but you can definitely tell that from the beginning of the book, so if you don't like that, probably don't read it. But overall, I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's very much like kind of a western, but with vampires. I really liked it. It reminded me a lot of the movie Vampires by John Carpenter. I don't know why. Probably because of like kind of a more desert setting. The film is, I think, is set in Mexico, if I'm not mistaken. But it was really cool. I actually really enjoyed it. So definitely check this one out. It's been really going around lately, so don't miss it. But I gave it also 4 out of 5 stars. I have a lot of 4 stars this month. Like, I've picked really cool books, but mostly none of them were really mind-blowing, but definitely very good and solid books. This next one, Bunny by Mona Ward. It's very weird to me that I haven't read this one sooner. I don't know why, but I thought it was something different and I didn't gravitate towards it. But now I see it. I see why so many people liked it. It's really weird. It's about this girl who goes to class, to poetry class, with, is it poetry or is it just like art in general? I don't remember. But she goes with this group of girls that are called the bunnies, and they basically turn bunnies into men. Sounds weird saying it out loud. But it was definitely on the weirder side, so if you like some weird shit, definitely check it out. It's a book that I would recommend to few people, but it's really cool, honestly. The story was great. I really like the ending. It has like very cool plot twists. A little bit on the, I saw that coming, but really good nonetheless, so definitely check it out. I also give it like 4 out of 5 stars. We're getting near to the end. So, The Art of Prophecy, which I talk a little bit about in my TBR. Really like it. It's over here. Wait a minute. These covers are just so cool. I'm a little bit mad that I have the small paperback and the big paperback, but it's fine. I'll live with it. Really liked it. Really liked it. We basically follow a first 2 characters. One of them is a veteran warrior. She comes here to see this display of this supposedly prophesized hero who is supposed to defeat this evil lord, but when she gets there, he's just a little fucking brat who has been handed everything in his life, and she decides to train him basically. It's just really cool. It does change in the middle of it. It does, and takes a completely different like approach to the story, so be mindful of that. But I just really enjoyed it, honestly. I was so surprised. I was really eager to read it once I discovered it was adult fantasy. I was just like, okay, I need it now. But I'm in love with this cover, dude. I'm just fucking in love. I wish I had prints of this. But yeah, this is definitely going into my biggest surprises of the year. I was so invested. I gave it 4 out of 5. If it was the same thing as the beginning, it would probably have been like 5 out of 5 stars, but a very weird direction. Still, I really liked it. I cannot recommend this one enough. It was great. But not for everyone though. Not for everyone. I don't know where my copy of this is, honestly. Oh, it's up there. I'm not going to grab it. But If We Were Villains, oh man, I was so happy that I read this. This was everything I wanted The Secret History to be. Everything. You know, you have like your Shakespeare setting, this art school, everyone is very creepy, we have fucking murder finally, and it's just like great. The story flows fucking amazing. I just really liked it. The characters are likable but also unlikable at the same time. It's very dark academia. I just really liked it. I do have to say that my edition is great. I wish I could show you, but I'm not going up there. I'll show you in another video. But it's the 5th anniversary edition and it has some illustrations there. I really like it. I also really like how it's structured in acts, like if it was a play, and how it mixes the present and the past. I just really liked it. I do have to say that I liked at the beginning more than the ending, again with this one. But overall, it was really good. definitely 4.5 out of 5 stars. Wish the Secret History was as good as this. You cannot tell me otherwise, sorry. I've read both. Secret History is greatly overrated. Then another meh thing. So I read The Blighted Faith by David Dalglish, and this year I read his entire trilogy, his entire past trilogy, and I really liked it. So I was just like super invested on reading his new book. Well, that book came out last year, but it doesn't matter. I was really excited to read his new book, but it was not for me. It did not work at all. It's just so weird. I gave it like 3.5, not 3.5, 3 out of 5 stars. I don't think it's the book. I think it's me. And I probably need to read this one again, but this kind of magic system did not work for me. Basically, we have like these people who can communicate with the gods, and they take some power from the gods. I should have loved this, but they kind of turn into the god. It's just weird. And you have this group of people who go place to place, just kind of reviving dead gods and starting revolutions. I don't know, it felt a little bit lame. But the ending it was actually interesting. The ending was actually interesting. So I don't know. I may give this one another chance. I did buy the sequel, The Sapphire Altar, but my copy was extremely damaged, so I had to send it back. But I don't know. This one did not work for me. Sad, but what can one do? One that was actually quite surprising. I have never known man. This is a sci-fi. Can we call it dystopia? No, probably just a sci-fi alien type of book. It's about a group of women who are kidnapped, and they are kept in this different planet by these humanoid alien beings, and one day they all kind of die and they are to fend for themselves basically. It's just really, it is very philosophical sci-fi again. Don't go into here thinking that it's going to be like war and battle and such. No, it's just very philosophical fantasy. Not fantasy, sci-fi, very philosophical sci-fi, especially because this girl grew up in this cage. So some of them tell her like different experiences and she does not understand. So it was really good. Overall, I really enjoyed it. I gave it like 4.5 out of 5 stars. It wasn't a full 5-star, but it was definitely really cool and great exploration. You know, I just really liked it. It's a bit of an exploration of what is to be human. Are you human if you're in another planet? If you have not been there? I don't know. It was really cool. I highly recommend it. Just 3 more. Just 3 more. This one, I'm not going to stop too much into this one because this is The Passing of the Dragon, which is a short story by Ken Liu. And it's just so good. It's a little bit surrounded about art and what your art communicates and what your art is to you. It's just weird. I'm definitely not on the artist side. I'm zero artistic, but it was just so good. It had so much feeling. I cried a little bit almost. It's just good, man. It's just good. And I don't really want to spoil anything because it's a very short story. It's basically about a painter who goes to the house of his favorite artist, of her favorite artist, basically, and she sees a dragon. It's just so cool, man. Then I read Monstre, which was surprising. And the thing is, I devoured this book. I read it in like 2 days, and it's fucking massive too. But I really like creepy books. The thing is, I did not like one of the parts of the book. I really like the time where we are set on the day 0 and day 1 and day 2 of this catastrophe. Basically, something happens in CERN, and there's this black cloud that's starting to cover everything, and monsters come along with it, and it's really cool. That concept alone was just like, I was sold. Which is, it's interesting because this book has always been on my radar, but I never really saw what it was about. And when I saw it, I was just like, okay, I need to see this. But the kind of present day story, it's set in America, and I feel like it has those American feelings. I don't know how to describe it, but it's very American. And I was reading it, and some things I was just like, You even have your like typical Marines, and just like, hoo-ha, let's just save the world, boys. That I have to say that is on the other timeline, and I still didn't like it. But some other things were really cool. The atmosphere of the book was amazing. You feel the fear of the people that are kind of in the present, which is really cool. But then you have like your typical group that's just like, yeah, let's just capture, rape, and just get a little fortress going on, which is just so typical by now. And that part was just like meh. But the rest was kind of cool. So I ended up giving it like 3.75 out of 5 stars. I'm a little bit on the middle ground, but I also feel like this book is a gigantic prologue, and the story is just so gut on the fucking middle. I was getting to the end and I was just like, wait, we have barely resolved anything. And indeed, we didn't resolve anything. We didn't resolve anything. It was just like more of a bunch of different scenes. It felt like the beginning. Which makes sense. Because it's volume 1. But at the same time, I wish we had more. And I will probably be more happy. But we're going to leave it at that. Then a surprise. A big surprise, one Dark Window and 2 Twisted Crowns. I read these ones back to back because I was so surprised by book 1. I really liked it, even though it's a horror fantasy, romantic horror fantasy. I actually really like it. Romance has a huge plot, a huge part of the plot here, but still, I was kind of into it, so it was fine, honestly. But the magic here is great. It's based around cards. Feels like a little bit like tarot-y, kinda. But it's really cool. It's basically about this group of people trying to find all the different cards so they can get rid of this kind of fog who's keeping this kingdom isolated and kills basically the people in here. And you know, these cards grant you different types of magic. It's actually kind of cool, not gonna lie. I would definitely recommend this one to anyone. Honestly, I was so surprised. I do have to say that I like book 1 more than book 2, but still overall I give both 4 stars. Solid duology, honestly. Definitely give it a try. Darker than I thought, and definitely good. The relationship between our main character and the monster that has in her head was fucking amazing. Fucking amazing. One of the best like interactions that I've seen this year on books. It was amazing. But definitely check this one out. I was so surprised by it. Just do it. And the last one, I have it here. Didn't I have it here? I thought so. But I've been really into this manga lately. Traces of Blood. Maybe the name in English. I don't know if it's translated, but I'm really liking it. It's basically about a mom who is obsessed with her child. So creepy. So creepy. She's just like, no one's going to get close to my child, and she starts killing people. It's so creepy, honestly. I really like it. I'm on volume 4. I'm about to read volume 4 because I already got it. But so far, so good. I'm very intrigued. I really want to continue. So yeah, I cannot talk anymore. Those were all the books that I really want to tell you about. But I read, I think 30 more. And that will be in another video. But please, have you read any of these? Did you like them? Did you dislike them? If you have any recommendations, just let me know in the comments below. And as always, I will see you in the next one. Bye.